Let's talk about Congressman Glenn Grothman and the comments he made on the House floor a few days ago. Thanks to Angela and Maura Keller, who's a candidate for Congress in Georgia, for drawing my attention to this. I pulled his entire speech from YouTube, and I want to talk about some very important parts of it. I posted a video on YouTube a few weeks ago talking about a particular chapter of The Handmaid's Tale, where Commander Waterford said this: "The problem wasn't only with the women. The main problem was with the men. There was nothing for them anymore." Offred says, "Nothing?" But they had, and he interrupts her and says, "There was nothing for them to do." "They could make money," I said a little nastily. "It's not enough," he said. "It's too abstract. I mean, there was nothing for them to do with women. There was nothing to work for, nothing to fight for." And a few days ago, Congressman Grothman said this:
I feel America is not as great a country, particularly as great a country to raise children in, as the America that they grew up in the 70s or 60s or 50s. One of the things they all talk about is the breakdown of the family. And you have to wonder why this has happened or why they feel the family is not as strong as they used to. But they're right if you look at the statistics. Going back to Karl Marx, there was a goal to break down the family. In the 1960s, in addition to the Marxists, we had the angry feminist movement. And I don't think it's a coincidence that at the same time these programs were expanding, the power of the feminists in this institution increased, and the result was we're going to have less men in the family. The effect of this, not only on the children, but on the men, was huge, is they kind of took the purpose out of the man's life. We've kind of made the man superfluous.
They've taken away a man's purpose. That's what it's all about. And the Daily Beast even called it. They had a headline, "Congressman makes dipshit speech pulled straight from The Handmaid's Tale." And this, in a nutshell, is the reason why men are struggling. They're struggling because they've been told forever that their only purpose is a woman. Their only purpose is to work until they die to support a woman and children. That they have no other purpose in life. That should be the centerpiece of their life always. Now, of course, if you have a family, you should work hard to support your family and make sure that they have everything that they need. But since women have now realized what a raw deal marriage is, and the marriage rate is going down, that means the opportunities for these men to fulfill their purpose are going down. It's always about this very narrow version of masculinity that men have to operate within that tells them their sole purpose is to do this and to not be like women. Work a job, make money, and don't be like women. That's masculinity in a nutshell. Women always had purpose outside of men. We had children, we had community, we had this just creative way of being that was often stifled by the amount of labor that we had to do in the home to keep us from doing other things that either brought us pleasure or independence. Many women in our tribal days, we were healers. We saw to the health of the community. We saw to the spiritual leadership of the community. But men's purpose has kind of always been about us. Their purpose has always revolved around convincing or trapping one of us to carry on their genetic material and then providing for that genetic material. Actually, the second part, at least these days, is kind of seemed like it's optional. Men are lonely because they don't have purpose. They don't have purpose precisely because of a system they built and kept in place and advocated for that narrows their existence to a point where without women, they have no purpose. Because if they can't bed one of us, get us pregnant, marry one of us, or just keep us trapped in the home, they have no purpose. If the world does not afford them the opportunity to do that, they're lost, most of them. They don't know what to do with themselves. If there is a crisis among men, which I believe that men are in crisis, I honestly believe that that's true. But I also know that women can't fix it. Only men can fix it. We found our purpose outside of men a long, long time ago. Women have always had community. We've always had community and a rich social lives of our own, independent of men. But we built that. We built that ourselves, and we built it in spite of systems that deliberately tried to isolate us. Men have to build theirs. This is a purpose that you have to create for yourself. We can't do this for you. And if you're a man like Scott Galloway, you think the solution is, oh, well, we just need more marriageable men. We need to, get men into college and get them making more money so women will want to marry them. No, because that's still clinging to the same purpose. The same purpose that isn't fulfilling, isn't constant. That's not going to sustain you. That being a man's only purpose, that's what got us here to begin with. Creating more quote unquote marriageable men is not going to make men less lonely. Only men creating a purpose outside of toxic masculinity is going to make them have purpose. Men creating purpose outside of toxic masculinity, that is what's going to make them less lonely. Men building community that is not revolving around misogyny and hatred of women is going to solve the male loneliness problem. Men deconstructing this vile and destructive sense of masculinity that they have to adhere to is what's going to save them. But when this kind of thing happens, the reaction to most men, and clearly politicians, is to cling even tighter to that narrow concept of masculinity. And that's just going to send them in the opposite direction. So this problem, this crisis of men and boys, it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. Just like everything else these days, it's going to get worse before it gets better. Apologies for the noise. They're mowing the lawn outside. But yeah, that's it. Purpose. Men have no purpose. And in order for them to have purpose, the purpose they used to have, they need to subjugate us. Because subjugating us is their purpose. And when they can't do that in large enough numbers, they get very upset. And that's when you see the upticks of violence and the kind of lethargy and just wanting to sit around and play video games and not really want to achieve anything. And the quality of life for men just goes down the toilet. You have to have some other purpose in life besides subjugating a woman. Build a life, build a community, do something. Because only you can save you, guys. I'm sorry, we can't, even if we wanted to, even if we thought it was our job to save you, which it's not, we couldn't. So just get off your ass and fucking do it yourself. Jesus, do we have to do everything for you?